What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Bills at Bears preview. Game going down this Saturday at 1 p.m. All games in the NFL are on Saturday instead of Sunday this week because of Christmas, so it's going to feel a little weird, but it is what it is. The weather's going to be kind of crazy in Chicago. High winds, temperature in the single digits. It's going to feel like below freezing, but nothing we're not used to in Buffalo, so hopefully the Bills have zero concerns about that aspect of the game. Let's start this preview talking a little bit about the Bears offense. The Bears offense had a slow start this season, but they're starting to get it going late in the year, and they definitely have some weapons on offense, especially in their run game. Running back number one, David Montgomery. He's been, very talented for countless years now. He's a great running back in the league. I'd expect to see him get the ball quite a bit, especially with the high winds expected. And then, running back number two, Khalil Herbert, back in the lineup after being designated to return from the IR. He is a scary weapon. Not one of the best running backs in the league, but he could definitely cook you. So we'll definitely have to watch out for him. And the Bills' run defense has been kind of weak the last few weeks, so we'll see how that works out. Last thing I want to talk about real quick about the Bears' offense is Justin Fields, and he's been cramping up the last few weeks. He's been banged up the last few weeks. There is a chance we could see old friend Nathan Peterman in this game. That would be something. The Bears wide receivers are kind of weak as well. Darnell Mooney is a decent receiver, and the Bears recently added Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers at the trade deadline. He's yet to really do too much with that offense, but you never know. Definitely a talented weapon to have. Let's transition to the Bills offense. First things first, let's talk about Josh Allen. He's back on the injury report, limited with that elbow injury. I have zero concerns about this one, but it definitely is a little bit, strange to see him come off of the injury report and then jump back on it a few weeks later. I think it's just precautionary, but you never know. Let's talk about the Bills' run game a little bit. They obviously have that trio of running backs. You got Cook, who's been pretty decent this year, but hasn't really got his chance to shine. Singletary, who seems pretty consistently decent. And then the wild card, Nyheim Hines, who could definitely be the Bills' number one running back if they really wanted him to. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, though. So, that group of running backs, they've been decent all year. Nothing to, marvel about, but we'll see how that goes. Let's talk receivers for the Bills. Obviously, Cole Beasley, John Brown, back at it. Jamison Crowder can come off IR at any time now, so there is a chance we see him in the near future. There's also a chance he doesn't come back, and the Bills ride it out with Beasley and Brown come playoff time. We'll see how that pans out. And then last thing I want to talk about on this offense is Dawson Knox has been a big factor in the last few weeks and in the last games. It's great to see Dawson Knox back in that offense in his role. I know in the beginning of the year, they didn't really give him the ball at all. Very frustrating from a fan's point of view, and I'm sure the team as well. So it's good to see Dawson Knox getting these chances. Although he does like to drop the ball a lot on the easy catches, Dawson Knox is always good for a touchdown or two in a big game, though. So it's good to see him back in action. Let's transition to the Bears' defense. Not a lot to say about this group. They rank 30th in the NFL. The Bills should be able to cook them over the middle. The only issue is, of course, the weather. It might be more of a running game, more of a Josh Allen run the ball game on the Bears. But 30th in the NFL, that's not great. Only two teams below you. But there is a positive for the Bears defense. They rank in the middle of the pack for turnovers. So that is their one positive aspect on their defense. They definitely can turn the ball over and give their offense, a quick chance at redemption if they turn the ball over themselves. So we'll see how that works out this week. Josh Allen hasn't thrown a pick in a long time now. I know that's becoming a storyline after it seemed like he was throwing picks every week in the beginning of the season. So we'll see if that Bears defense could get a few turnovers off the Bills. But, finally, let's talk about the Bills defense. A lot of people were saying, this Bills defense is done without Von Miller. That's simply not the case. I think Von Miller's a great player, but the Bills definitely still have the weapons on that defense to win the Super Bowl. I don't think, losing Von Miller's really changes our Super Bowl odds, if at all, maybe by 1%. You still have Von Miller in that locker room and on that practice field, too, helping guys out. So, major aspect to have. Tre'Davious White is getting healthy. Week after week, we see him, getting better and better on the field. He should be pretty much close to full. at least for what he can do this year. So it's good to see him on the field. Jordan Phillips set to return in this game. That should help the run defense because the run defense has been horrible the last few weeks without him. So Jordan Phillips back in that defense, back into the middle of that defensive line. That should help stopping Herbert and Montgomery, who are, as I mentioned earlier, pretty darn good running backs. Last point I want to touch on, Kaiir Elam had a really good week, and he should be, your solidified number 2 cornerback to end the season out. Benford will be back after this week if they want to put him up from the IR. He is eligible. So, it's definitely good to see we'll have our trio of cornerbacks for the first time back in action, hopefully next week against a pivotal game against Cincinnati. But that's it for the preview. I'll finish this off with my prediction. I got the Bills winning 30-17.